Hi guys, this is Christian from Wingsurfer.nl. Here I have a KT Drifter 4, 80 liters, and here I have a KT Ginxu Super K, 92 liters. This is what they call a mid-length wingfoil board. It's an evolution that came down from the downwind SUPing. Those boards are even longer and they are less wide than this one. What they found out, when you put a wing on those, you could get going onto the foil in the lightest of conditions. But they are a little bit long. So that's why they came out with these kind of boards to still get onto the foil really quickly, but not having them too long. In this video, I'm going to do a comparison to the Drifter 4, also different sizes, to find out in which kind of conditions both boards work best. This way, you can make a right choice, I hope, to find out which model suits your needs the best. Just a little bit of background information. Early 2022, I received my KT Wing Drifter. It was a 5.4, 56 liters. This is the successor, the Drifter 4. That board was a little bit longer than all the boards out there at the time, especially with 56 liters. Most boards with that kind of volume didn't go over 5 feet tall. And that was the trend, making boards shorter and shorter. And that had to do something with the swing weight. So everything in front of your feet, that's been called, and actually behind your feet, it's called swing weight. So the more you move around, the more the nose swings around, and that extra weight gives you some feel of weight. In these kind of volumes, I never really noticed that, but I did notice how hard it was to get on those really small boards. So for me, it was a game changer with the longer board. It was so much easier to get on. I've got a full review on that board as well on YouTube. Check it out. But of course, there were always people who would rip on those really short boards, especially team riders and guys that are really good. But in the conditions we get, that's kind of choppy with currents, they would really be hard to get going on. So once up and going was amazing, but you didn't want to fall off because then you had to get up again, and that would take ages. It would be really heavy just to make speed with them. Also for KT, the next size in the line would be 62 liter board. But that one would only be 4 feet long with 10 inches. So the line of the KT Wing Drifter wasn't full. And now, with the Drifter 4, there's a big change in that one. The arrival of the Drifter 4. Now with the Drifter 4 that has arrived, this is the 5.2, 56 liters. This board excels in almost anything compared to the Wing Drifter. You can find a full review about this board on my YouTube channel. The new line of the Wing Drifter is just so much more consistent. For example, now the next size up, the 64 liters, it's 2 inch longer. The next size, 72 liters, is 2 inch longer again. So all the way up to 170 liters, almost every step of the way is 2 inches longer. Sometimes just one, but that's only for the 150 liter model. That one is a 6.1 in length, and one could actually argue that with that kind of length, it also has become a mid-length size board. I've tried this one, so in the Drifter 4, 56 liters, but I've also tried the 80 liters. And for me, I take out the 56 liters most of the times. But when the wind is really light, this 80 liters, which is in length 5.8, and the width of the board is over 25 inch, this board keeps me floating while I'm just a little over 80 kilograms. And well, where the 56 liters gets going really quick, with 80 liter, for me, it gets going amazingly quick. It's crazy how easy it is to get going on this board with my weight. Just floating around, it's easy, and just 2 pumps and I'm away on the foil. And then there was the KT Ginxu Super K board. This is the 92 liters. I've also tried the 80 liters. My goal was to get going in the lightest of breeze with a small foil. Most of the times actually a 580 front wing. And just make use of this board, make use of its length. It's rounded hull to make as much speed as possible in low winds. And because of that, I could manage to get onto a small foil already in about 10 to 12 knots. If I would use a larger foil, I've used up to 1100, I could get this going with even less wind. It's always hard to say. I can say 7 8 knots or 8 knots, but it was less wind. I wouldn't be able to be exact about that. Sometimes you get a gust and that one is just a little bit stronger and you get going. So, but I could use it in the lightest of winds. This one, the 92 liters, it's a 6.5 in length. The width of the board is 22 inch. And for the 80 liters, the length of the board is a 6.1 by 21 inch. That's, if you look at the new mid-size boards that came out with a lot of brands, it's wider than most of them. And that's actually a good thing, I think, because the same thing is happening, well, to me it feels like that is happening like with the trend of going shorter and shorter and shorter, is they are going less wide, wide and wide, just making narrower boards. And making a narrower board, of course, reduces the resistance in the water going forward. And when you're wave riding, you can really go from rail to rail quickly. But for most people out there, I don't think most of them are that far yet. A lot of people just getting onto the foil, making their first tags, or maybe just start to doing the jibes and all, and it's working out. And then moving on to next board, going that narrow, will take some adjustments, because I already noticed it on this board when getting on. It would be a little bit more wobbly, just because it's less the width than, for example, the Drifter 4 here. That one, although a little bit less long, still with 80 liters, it's a 5.8. But the width of the board, more than 25 inch, just makes it more stable all the way. So I like what KT has done with these boards, with the width of the boards, and in what kind of conditions this one works best. Well, let's find out. Which shape helps you get going on the foil the quickest? Well, the difference between the two models, it's minimal, but there is a difference. In minimal wind conditions, when the waters are quite calm, the Ginxu Super K helps you on the foil the quickest. It just makes speed much easier. However, what I found out, when the waters get messy, really choppy, with currents moving in both directions a bit, combined with the front of this board, which is quite round, I found it's really hard to find a straight line with this board. So it starts seeking its way in all directions, moving along with the chop. In those kind of conditions, I really preferred the Drifter 4. That one would just go into a straight line and go over it and get on foil quicker. But in all other conditions, when the waters are calm, the Super K wins. Which model works best in the waves? Well, let's first break down the term wave riding in 3 different categories. First one, wind chop. So riding wind chop along. Secondly, riding swell. So non-breaking waves, maybe with a little bit of white water crumbling, but nothing too hectic. And 3, breaking waves. So breaking on either a sandbar or on a reef or something, but it's breaking and has a lot of power to it. So if you look at beginners, well, not beginners, but people who just got onto the foil and are starting to ride waves, Most of them probably are riding either wind chop or wind swell or both of them. And in these kind of conditions, the Super K really excels. Most of the times, people aren't doing radical turns. They want to do long turns with a lot of glide in these kind of conditions. So they are using high aspect foils, like the access foils, art. In these kind of conditions, especially when the wind is light, the Super K model comes out of the water really quickly, and it just goes along the swell really easy. Things change though when the waves start breaking. When the waves start breaking and you want to do quick turns, I actually first noticed real swing weight on the Ginxu Super K. Also because the wave was like 3 to 4 foot high. Turning it quickly, I really felt like, okay, this nose is gonna catch the water in front of me, going from the upwind direction to the downwind direction. So in these kind of conditions, I really prefer the Drifter 4. Also, actually, in wind chop, the Drifter 4 can excel, because when you're doing want to do quick humps to pump around those wind chops, the Drifter 4 just moves along easier, I think. And overall, in any condition, the Drifter 4 will work. So the winner for pure wave riding, to me, is more the all-rounder, the Drifter 4. But if you only just riding swell, cruising along, you will like the Ginxu Super K. Which of these two shapes is the best for use on flat water conditions? Well, flat water conditions, a lot of times that's on lakes. And on lakes, a lot of times you have trees or buildings around, blocking some wind somewhere on the playing field. So most important thing still is have enough volume, so you don't sink when you don't have enough wind. Secondly, if you want to get going in the lightest of winds, then have a look at the Super K, because the Super K just gets going the quickest. However, if you want just a little bit more stability, have a look at the Drifter 4. By having just a bit extra width, the Drifter 4 gets going much quicker. And in the end, if you're not wave riding, just cruising around, I don't think it doesn't matter as much how wide or narrow the board is. So to me, both boards will work. So this one for the lightest of conditions, the Drifter 4 if you are looking for enough stability still. Footstrap and mast track positions. If you like footstraps, like me, I actually like the V-strap they added on the Super K board here. All sizes of the Super K have a V-strap option and then a single footstrap on the rear. If you look at the Drifter 4, 80 liters, that one actually can't have a V-strap option. It can only have a single strap on each side on the front. And on the rear, there are also some offset positions possible. But that's only with 80 liters and larger. As you can see here, on the 56 liter board, there's a V-strap option again. And that's what I prefer, because you're standing as much as possible in the middle of the board while riding the wave. Otherwise, you get an offset foot strap, and then you cannot ride the same position when you transition to the other side of the board. But that's one thing. Then when you look at the mast track positions, for the Drifter 4, that has been done perfect. So when using the foils I mostly use, access foils with Advanced Plus fuselage, the front wing and the mast are quite close to each other. And on the old wing drifter boards, I ran a mast track space in the front. I couldn't move it any further forward, but I wanted to move it 1 centimeter more to the front. On the Super K board, I actually almost ran out of track space in the rear of the board. Well, I have my foot strap all the way to the front, I only have 1 centimeter of space left on the rear. So it's all the way here, down here. So for me that's not a problem, but if you have a foil where the mast and the front wing are further apart, that could be a thing. And that's done perfectly on the wing drifter, or sorry, on the drifter. On the drifter, the position for me, it's perfect. So I'm like with the front of the foil, the plate, I'm on 30. That's still 3 centimeters away from the front. So if you have a different foil, I'm sure it will fit the Drifter 4. So the Drifter 4, I think any foil will match the board well using foot straps. Well, on the Super K, you might need to get rid of the foot straps to make use of your foil. Conclusion, which model to choose? In the lightest of wind conditions for just blasting around, or going around in nice long swells, my preferred choice would be the Ginxu Super K. However, when it's pumping, when it's windy, when you just want to move as quick as possible on the waves, in all other conditions, my preferred option is the Drifter 4. But if you just started to foil, and you're not doing that for that long yet, you just want a nice stable platform to get going, but you do want a little bit extra length to get on the foil easier. Also, I would choose the Drifter 4 model. If you are a little bit better and you want to get going in the lightest of conditions, get up on foil, just makes a few knots of difference, then have a look at the Ginxu Super K. Hope it's clear to you, and thanks for watching. And if you have any comments, please post them below.